You're in the hospital, so you weren't using it anyway. I need a place to live. My sister Chloe said this without a trace of guilt. In her hand was a half-eaten slice of cold pepperoni pizza, and her greasy fingers left prints on the armrest of my custom black leather smart sofa, a sofa that automatically adjusted its lumbar support based on who was sitting on it. I leaned heavily on my crutches, my left leg still in a brace, staring at her in disbelief. When I had forced my way through the discharge procedure and dragged my bandaged body back to the penthouse, what awaited me wasn't tears of reunion or a warm meal. It was my sister, acting as if the place had always been hers, and a scene of absolute chaos. My living room, which I had meticulously designed for filming tech reviews, was desecrated. The nanoleaf light panels I had arranged for unboxing videos had been torn down and restuck crookedly. Chloe's dirty laundry was draped over my $2,000 ergonomic office chair. On the marble coffee table sat a half-empty can of cheap beer with no coaster, and a burnt smell lingered from a forgotten air fryer experiment gone wrong. Chloe, do you even realize what you're saying? My voice trembled with anger. Come on, Clara. She sighed, exasperated, picking at her teeth. You were in the hospital because of the accident. An empty $4,500 a month penthouse is a waste, right? Mom and Dad even said, since Clara's not using it, Chloe should just take care of the place. Not using it? Were they expecting me to die? Their first thought when I returned from a life-threatening traffic accident was to claim my home. But this was my family. And in the days leading up to this hopeless scene, I would never forget the time I had been crushed on the highway, fighting alone in the darkness. That night, I had finished a client meeting. I was a tech reviewer with a growing YouTube channel, Clara Reviews Everything, and I had just closed a sponsorship deal with a major AI home assistant brand. My career was about to explode nationwide. I gripped the steering wheel of my electric sedan, listening to the rhythmic patter of the wipers, mentally planning my next video, how to automate your entire apartment for under $500. That thought was cut off forever by the blinding headlights from the right. A semi-truck running a red light. There was no time to hit the brakes. The impact was overwhelming. The world flipped upside down. Glass rained into the car like shrapnel. My consciousness was sucked into a deep, silent dark. Clara, can you hear me? I awoke to a distant, rhythmic electronic beep. The sharp smell of antiseptic mixed with blood hit my nose. I forced my heavy eyelids open. My vision was blurry white. Clara. A warm, large hand enveloped my cold, bruised one. As my vision began to focus, I saw Marcus's face. He was a cybersecurity engineer, usually calm, logical, and unshakable. But then, his hair was disheveled. There were dark circles under his eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Marcus. I croaked. Thank God. Thank God. He pressed my hand to his forehead, whispering in a trembling voice. You were unconscious for 3 days. 3 days? Just then, the door clicked open. A woman in a white coat entered, Dr. Chin, my attending physician. Miss Hayes, you're awake. It was a very serious accident, but you're incredibly lucky. After checking my vitals, she adjusted her glasses awkwardly and hesitated. Ms. Hayes, actually, right after you were brought in, we verified your identity and contacted your family multiple times. My family? The words made me gasp under the oxygen mask. The heart monitor beeped prematurely. Doctor, my family. Then it hit me. I had cut ties with my family a year ago, blocked their numbers, changed my address. As I was starting to succeed as a tech reviewer, they constantly demanded money, pay our car loan, cover Dad's gambling debt. But I had forgotten to update my emergency contact. The old information remained, Father, Richard Hayes. Because of my oversight, the doctors had followed protocol. Did they come? I asked. Dr. Chen shook her head with a pained expression. Our staff called 15 times in total. We left messages explaining, your daughter is in critical condition. She paused. One time, we managed to reach your mother. She said, and I quote, I'm busy right now. Chloe is going through a breakup and needs me. Clara is probably exaggerating her injuries anyway. She's always been dramatic. I had no words. While I lay in the ICU, hooked up to machines, my mother prioritized my sister's broken heart over my broken bones. Even though I'd cut ties, the cruel hierarchy had never changed. Chloe was the fragile princess. I was the strong one, the afterthought. Before tears of frustration could spill, Marcus gripped my hand tighter. I'm here. You have me, Clara. He added, Sophia was here, too. She stayed until 3 a.m. She only went home because her kids needed her. Sophia. Warmth spread through me. My best friend. People with no blood relation cared for me more than my own family ever had. I'll text her right now, Marcus said, pulling out his phone. Within minutes, my own phone buzzed by my pillow. Ignoring the pain in my ribs, I picked it up. A new message from Sophia flashed on the screen. Expecting encouragement, I opened it, only for my eyes to widen in disbelief. Clara, read this now. Emergency. Your sister used a spare key to get into your penthouse. She moved in. I'm sending videos. Something inside me collapsed with an audible crack. Marcus leaned closer. Clara? What's wrong? My hands shaking, I showed him the screen. Sophia had sent a short video. On the tiny screen, a familiar figure was unlocking the smart lock to my building. Chloe. Behind her, my father Richard and my mother Susan followed, each carrying trash bags full of clothes. Then Sophia sent a screenshot from Chloe's Instagram story. There she was, standing in my painstakingly curated tech review living room, wearing my expensive noise-canceling headphones, holding a glass of my best whiskey. The caption read, Finally where I belong. Hashtag new apartment, hashtag blessed, hashtag tech life. My mind went blank. While doctors were calling to say I was fighting for my life, my family was planning how to steal my home. They really thought I was going to die. Marcus, I said, my voice icy. I will never forgive them. Never. A week later, I was discharged. When I arrived at my penthouse, the person waiting for me was my sister, Chloe, glowering at me while grabbing a greasy slice of pizza. How did you get in? And the key? I demanded. Chloe smirked triumphantly and tossed her pizza crust onto my destroyed coffee table. The doctor told us the address. They called nonstop when you were dying, remember? And the key? That's thanks to Mom's Oscar-worthy performance. Performance? Once we got here, Mom collapsed at the entrance, crying. She screamed, my daughter is in a coma. I need to get her insurance card and a change of clothes. She even started hyperventilating for effect. The building manager panicked. He said, if it's an emergency, and used the master key to let them in. He even handed over a spare key. Easy. They had exploited a life-threatening situation to commit trespassing. I gripped my crutches tightly, forcing my shaking hands to steady. This is my home. Get out. Chloe shrieked, telling family to get out is cruel, isn't it? At that moment, the front door opened. My mother walked in carrying a grocery bag. Oh, stop it, Clara. You're being dramatic. Seeing me wrapped in bandages didn't even move her eyebrow. Not a single, are you okay? Chloe's going through a lot right now. She got fired from her job and got evicted. You're successful. You have money. You have a great boyfriend. Try to think about how it feels to have nothing. My mother pulled Chloe close and glared at me as if I were the villain. It's always been this way. You're strong, Clara. You can handle anything. But Chloe is sensitive. It's the strong sister's job to support the weak one, isn't it? Those were the cursed words. Words designed to make me endure. To exploit me. To make me convenient. While I saved up from part-time jobs to pay for college, my parents bought Chloe a brand new car. Clara, you can handle things on your own. And now, even after surviving a near-death experience, they were trying to take my home. I exchanged a glance with Marcus. He kept a neutral expression, but behind his eyes was quiet anger and a subtle green light for me. I exhaled deeply and put on the face of a resigned, broken woman. Maybe you're right, Mom, I said softly. My mother and Chloe's eyes widened. I was wrong. Chloe needs this place now. I'm injured, and I don't have the energy to fight. I slumped my shoulders weakly. Marcus, can I come to your place? Seems like there's no room for me here. Marcus nodded, sorrowful but resolute. Of course, Clara. I won't leave you in this stress. Chloe's victorious grin spread across her face. See? This is what I meant. If only you'd just done this from the start. My mother nodded in satisfaction. Then leave the key. We'll manage the place while you're gone. I had to fight to keep my laughter in check. Fine, I said. I'll leave the key on the table. I placed the spare key on the marble table with a clink. And then, with my other hand, I slid something else alongside it, a single sheet of paper. It wasn't a sign of surrender. It was an invitation to hell. As the elevator doors closed and the numbers started dropping, the mask of the tragic heroine fell from my face. In its place appeared the ice-cold, merciless smile of a calculating avenger. Once in Marcus's car, I opened my laptop in the passenger seat. Are you sure about this? He asked, gripping the wheel. This is pretty brutal. Yes, I said. Parasites need to feel the chill when their host is gone. I began executing each step. First, I logged into my smart home management portal. My entire penthouse ran on a centralized AI system, lights, temperature, cameras, locks, everything. I didn't just cut utilities. I weaponized them. I set the thermostat to drop to 50 degrees Fahrenheit every night starting at 10 p.m. I programmed all the smart lights to flicker randomly between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., simulating a haunting. I disabled the hot water heater remotely. And most importantly, I activated every hidden security camera in the penthouse. Motion activated. Audio recording. Cloud backed up. Then, I logged into my landlord's portal and canceled every automatic rent withdrawal. I had already explained the situation to the building owner while in the hospital. He was sympathetic. If the rent stops being paid, he had said, I can issue an eviction notice immediately. When I finally finished, I let out a long exhale. It wasn't guilt. It was relief. You did great, Clara, Marcus said, placing his hand over mine. How about I grill the best steak tonight at my place? To celebrate your discharge and the start of your new life. Yes, I said. That sounds wonderful. Scene 6, The Digital Storm. The next morning, my phone buzzed. Chloe, the heat just stopped working. It's freezing in here. Fix it. I didn't respond. An hour later, the lights are flickering. It's creepy. Are you doing this? Silence from me. Then, there's no hot water. I haven't showered in 2 days. This is your fault. Each text only made my heart grow colder. The next day, my father began calling. Every 10 minutes. Relentlessly. I put my phone on the table and stared at the incoming call. The screen displayed Dad. There was a time when seeing that word made my stomach twist with guilt. Not anymore. You're not going to answer? Marcus asked. No, I said, stabbing a fork into my salad. I'll let them simmer. They'll expose their true nature completely. Then I can finish them legally. My prediction was right. That evening, my father left a voicemail. A message so deranged it was enough to sever any remaining sense of family. Clara, you ungrateful child. Chloe is shivering in the dark because of you. Your mother hasn't slept in 2 nights. If you don't restore the utilities by tomorrow, I will take legal action against you for elder abuse. Do you hear me? Elder abuse. I saved the voicemail. Evidence. On the 3rd day, Marcus approached me with a stiff expression, holding his tablet. Clara, you need to see this. Your father sent an email to my company's contact address. The subject line read, Urgent, penthouse transfer. I opened it. Clara, since you won't answer your phone, I found Marcus's business card in your desk. Now, about the penthouse. All utilities have failed and Chloe is living in unsafe conditions. This is your negligence. But as your family, we'll overlook it. Here is my proposal. Sign the attached letter of intent to gift property, transferring the penthouse to Chloe's name. You're staying at Marcus's place now. You don't need it. Sister should help sister. If you don't sign by midnight, I will sign on your behalf. Legal technicalities can wait. You're not planning to abandon your family, are you? I read it twice. Then I laughed. A cold, hollow laugh. They had interpreted my shutdown of the utilities as negligence. And that line, sign on your behalf, meant they intended to forge my signature. Marcus, I said, call my lawyer. Marcus immediately contacted his corporate attorney. The lawyer's voice on speaker was calm, sharp, and decisive. MS. Hayes, I've reviewed the email. This falls under attempted coercion and preparation for document forgery. Combined with unlawful entry, we should involve the police immediately. Do not agree to anything. Understood, I said. One more thing, the lawyer added. Did you by any chance leave a fake document behind? I smiled. Yes. I left a fake letter of intent to gift property on the coffee table before I left. Deliberately. Excellent. That will be used as evidence of their criminal intent. You've done everything right. An hour later, Marcus and I arrived at my penthouse with 2 police officers and the building manager. Inside, I could hear arguing. I told you we shouldn't have waited for her signature. Chloe was screaming. Mom, just write it yourself. Shut up. I'm practicing, my mother shouted back. Clara's signature is harder to copy than I thought. Hurry, my father yelled. If we don't send it today, we'll spend another night without electricity. They were actively committing a crime at that very moment. I unlocked the door with the spare key. Click. The door swung open. A foul stench hit my nose. Rotting food. Body odor. Spilled beer. That's enough, I said, my voice echoing through the filthy room. My entire family froze. On the table lay the fake letter of intent, with my mother holding a pen. Scattered beside her were old letters of mine, samples she was using to practice forging my handwriting. Clara, my mother dropped the pen. Why are you? Police. Everyone, hands where we can see them. Do not move. The officers stormed in behind me. My father crumpled onto the sofa, face white. The police? But we're family. What you are doing, the lawyer stated coldly, stepping forward, is attempted forgery of a legal document, unlawful occupation, and harassment. No. She let us stay, my father protested. That's right, my mother cried, reaching for me. Clara, tell them. You let your sister stay. Marcus stepped in front of me, blocking her. I did not let you stay, I said from behind Marcus's shoulder. I told you to get out. You ignored me. You destroyed my belongings. And now you're trying to steal my home by forging my name. You are not my family anymore. You are criminals. My mother shrieked, you left the document. You said you'd give it to us. I smiled coldly. That document was fake. I left it on purpose. Fake. My father's face went pale. And cutting off the electricity and water? Chloe whispered. That was calculated too, wasn't it? Yes, I said. When you panicked, you lost the ability to think clearly. You rushed to commit a crime without checking with me. That's the moment I was waiting for. They finally realized it. For the past 3 days, they had been dancing on the palm of my hand. You set us up, my father said, his voice breaking. No, I said. Your own greed trapped you. The lawyer stepped forward with a legal document. A restraining order against all 3 of you has already been filed with the court. You are forbidden from approaching Ms. Hayes or contacting her by any means. Violation will result in immediate incarceration. Restraining order? Against her own parents, my mother screamed. Take them away, I said. As the officers handcuffed them, my mother screamed one last thing. Clara, you ungrateful failure. You'll regret this. The elevator doors closed on her voice. 6 months later, I sold that penthouse. I had it professionally cleaned and restored, but the memories of those 3 days were too ingrained to continue living there. I had no regrets. Legal proceedings against Chloe and my parents moved forward mercilessly. In addition to trespassing and attempted forgery, I claimed over $80,000 in damages, destroyed furniture, broken tech equipment, and emotional distress. They had no way to pay. My father was forced to declare bankruptcy. My parents moved into a cheap studio apartment in a bad part of town. Chloe received a suspended sentence and now works as a cashier at a gas station. And me? I live in a new penthouse overlooking the ocean. Marcus is by my side. Next month, we are getting married. There is no place on the guest list for my parents or sister. In their stead, my best friend Sophia will have the front row seat. Yesterday, I finally updated my emergency contact. I did not hesitate to remove my father's name. Instead, I entered, husband, Marcus. The moment I hit save, I felt the final chain around my heart snap free.